this important meeting of Zoom meeting, where we are going to have really going to have a very good session, and I'm really excited about it. Before we actually go to the session, I would like to welcome our President Nilesh Lele to brief the forum about the activities of our chamber. Over to you, President Nilesh Lele.
Thank you very much, Prashant sir. A warm welcome to CA Maheshwar Marathe sir for today's session. Thank you for agreeing to our invite and covering the special topic of finance, which is very important for MSMEs. But before we get off to today's session, I would also like to talk a little bit about and let other people who are here know more about what the chamber, the background of the chamber, why it was started, what the mission vision has been. So we recently launched this chamber for advancement of small and medium businesses. We have our office in BKC in Mumbai. And as we grow, we want to become a pan India as well as sector agnostic. So covering all sectors across SME or MSME. We are also very active on social media. These are some of the sites, our handles on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as we have our YouTube channel where a lot of our past sessions have already been uploaded. So if anybody has missed any of our lectures or sessions from past couple of days, you can visit our YouTube channel and also see it there. So why another chamber, or why our chamber? So what we realized, especially during the COVID, that SME, even though it's the backbone of Indian economy, was probably the most hit among the overall companies or overall economy that India has. So we decided to form this chamber with a mission to work closely with all stakeholders in order to have advancement of micro, small and medium businesses. And we also want to make the SMEs or MSMEs more resilient and even a stronger backbone of Indian economy. If you look at certain numbers, or what MSME means to Indian economy, is it's contributing almost 30% to the GDP. It's also contributing almost 48% to the overall exports that India does, with employment given to almost 11 crore people. So, and that's the primary reason why it is called the backbone of the country. On December 20th, 2020, Honorable Minister for MSME, Shri Nitinji Gadkari, he said that he wants the MSME to focus on it such that the contribution should go up from 30% to 40%, and export contribution should go up from 48 to 60%. As well as MSME is expected to add 5 crore jobs in next 5 years. So with these words, after hearing these words of Honorable Minister, we thought that especially during the height of pandemic, such a chamber should be formed where we need to empower the MSME entrepreneurs to achieve the next level success. We'll be working on various objectives, but we have listed out few here where we want to represent MSME in various forums. Of course, there are many chambers like FICCI and CII, and they're doing a fantastic job. But I think MSME needs its own chapter, needs its own voice in a lot of different forums. We also believe in empowering farmers to become entrepreneurs. It's interesting that on the day of our launch, Girish Chitale of Chitale Dairy and Chitale Bandhu mentioned that farmer was the first entrepreneur. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? Where you produce more than what you personally need so that you can actually sell or barter it. And farmer as such, by definition or by the way he has evolved, is an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, over a period of last whatever hundreds of years, he has forgotten that he's an entrepreneur, or he's into not just farming, but also should look at farming as a business. So in fact, yesterday we had a session where an expert on farmer producer organizations, how to form it, as well as how to what all benefits that farmers or farmer producer organizations can take, was delivered by Shri Vijay Athawaleji. So that is also online on YouTube. So we want to focus on farmers. We also want to focus on students who will be future entrepreneurs. We want to bring a convergence of various academic research that is happening, various technologies that have been happening. There are a lot of government schemes which and policies which obviously is our focus today, so that the SMEs can benefit. Many times we have seen that the entrepreneur is alone and he has to wear so many different hats. Many times he doesn't even know about different things out there. So the idea is to, through this platform, bring all those things to the entrepreneur so that he can focus on his core area of actually doing business and growing his business. We also would be representing SMEs in different knowledge, like in different exhibitions, help them come up with strategic tie-ups, organize study tours. So there are a lot of objectives that we have in mind, and we look forward to fulfilling it in years to come. We have been fortunate to have many team members already and also advisory board. In fact, we launched on Monday, March 1st, so only 4 days back. But already we have been fortunate enough to have Professor Smita Lele, Emeritus Professor, ICT Mumbai, on our advisory board, Dr. Prabodh Halde, Regulatory Head of Marico, Dr. Prakash Kondekar, I think he's here today, I just saw him log in, on our advisory board. On the management team, along with me, we have Umesh Kamble, who is the backbone, also the Secretary General of the Chamber. Mr. Prashant Naigokar, who we just heard, who will be heading our finance-related facilitation cell, and everything related to finance in our chamber will be handled by him. Mr. Ajit Kasar brings almost 25-year plus experience in sales and marketing, which is again a key area for growth for SMEs. Mr. Sachin Kumboje, who's in Kolhapur and runs an incubation center there, as well as Mr. Anup Kulkarni, who's based out of Aurangabad and also has his own incubation slash entrepreneurship ecosystem out there. So these two are going to help us with the actual incubation and handholding of entrepreneurs, especially in the Western Maharashtra and Marathwada region. So the idea is to be pan Maharashtra in maybe next 1 to 2 months, and then try to reach out to certain other target areas, like we have Gujarat and Goa, and definitely northeast of India as our target areas for our chamber to expand. We have been running initiatives throughout the month of March, and on Monday we had the entrepreneur speak, and we have good speakers lined up for next 4 Mondays of March as well, which I'll show it on one of the next slides. Technology has been an important factor if the entrepreneur or the SME needs to grow, and if our country needs to grow. So we showcased technologies that were developed by Institute of Chemical Technology on this Tuesday, a couple of days back. And we have already gotten commitment from NIFTEM near Delhi, which is a food technology institute set up by Ministry of Food Processing. We have confirmation from BARC for showcasing their technologies that SMEs can transfer it from them. We are in talks with a couple of other institutes to showcase their technologies, which will be run on every Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we have different weekly knowledge forums or weekly sessions, where yesterday, like we had one on farmer producer. In next couple of weeks, we have more on applications of palm oil in food as well as non-food. Let it be cosmetics, let it be biofuels, will be covered on next 2 Wednesdays. And on the fourth Wednesday, which is 24th of March, Padma Bhushan Professor J.B. Joshi is going to grace our platform and also talk about his favorite topic of yeah, and it will be in Marathi, going from Saraswati to Lakshmi. So converting knowledge into wealth is what his talk will be on. On Thursdays, we'll have finance related topics, today being the first one, where Marathe sir will talk about different policies and things that have happened in last 1 to 2 years in the field of finance as well as policies. Next week, we are planning to bring in an expert who will talk about schemes of Ministry of Food Processing. And then the last 2 weeks, we plan to bring, on one of the days, we plan to bring in a bank. And on one of the days, we plan to bring in an investor to understand what an investor is looking at, whether it's a seed funding or any of the further round of funding. So trying to give all aspects of finance exposure to people who will be attending our sessions. We also are in talks with a couple of colleges to set up or partner with them to have our incubation center, one in Navi Mumbai and one in Kolhapur. So that should also be announced shortly. And we plan to have a buyer seller meet already in talks with many distributors, merchant exporters, and some category managers of modern trade. So we plan to have it maybe on the 3rd or the 4th Saturday of March, where our members will get to directly do one-to-one presentations to these potential buyers or category managers of modern trade. So like I just described, this is what we have already got confirmation of various speakers, and we are hoping that as we go along, and based on your feedback, feel free to give us the feedback as to if there are certain topics you want us to cover. We'll try to cover it, if not in March, then probably in the month of April. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits like attending our lectures for free. We have already had MOUs signed up with or in talks with AFST Mumbai and few other associations, APEDA, EIC. So their programs will also be offered at subsidized or free for our members. So that is definitely something that will be a big benefit. Secondly, our office in BKC is available for our members for their meetings or team meetings in case they don't have a presence in Mumbai but want to do any meetings in Mumbai. And we will have through our chamber, you'll have access to a lot of different experts in various businesses. So just to list out few benefits, I mean, the benefits are just going to keep growing and increasing as we go along. The fees have also been kept very nominal. And in fact, we have, as I said, farmers and students are also something we want to groom or we want to make them into entrepreneurs. So for them, the annual fee has been kept at as low as 500 rupees. And most of the micro scale entrepreneurs can become members of our chamber by paying 2,500 rupees. So these are my coordinates or my contact, and feel free to reach out to me or to Prashant sir or any of our team member from the chamber. And we are always available for any help that you may need. Thank you very much. Over to Prashant sir.
Good evening and warm welcome to CA Maheshwar Marathe sir and all the participants. We are excited to have a very good session on MSME schemes of government. Let me, thanks to President for the privilege given to me for introducing CA Mr. Maheshwar Marathe to the forum. Mr. CA Maheshwar Marathe is partner of CMRS and Associates LLP, which is the first CA firm in Pimpri Chinchwad, Pune since 1974. And with they started with one CA as a practitioner and grown, traveled to become an LLP, having staff of 150 plus. Right now, they are catering to a large clientele of 500 plus clients. Mr. Maheshwar Marathe has a long list of qualifications, out of which I'll tell you the main one: Bachelor of Commerce, that is BCom, Fellow Chartered Accountant, Diploma in Information System Audit, Diploma in Insurance and Risk Management, Diploma in International Banking and Finance, Certified Arbitrator by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has a rich experience, which includes qualified as a chartered accountant since 2002, practicing professional, partner at CMRS and Associates LLP Chartered Accountants Pune, specializing in SME matters, banking and finance. Earlier worked as area credit manager in ICICI Bank Limited in SME funding. Apart from this, he has held various important positions, which are as under expert director, the Kalyan Janta Sahakari Bank Limited, speaker on MSME matters on various forums such as ICAI, SME organizations, banks and colleges, speaker on union budget for last 6 years, especially in commerce colleges, written several articles in leading journals on topics of MSME Act, MSME schemes, ex-managing committee member of Pimpri Chinchwad branch of CA Institute from 2013 to 2016. So we are really going to have a very good session because our speaker of today is having really an illustrious background. With this, I would welcome CA Maheshwar Marathe, to deliver his speech. Sir, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening, all. Thank you, Nilesh ji. So we are starting with the presentation directly. So, yeah. In fact, the topic itself is suggesting a few initiatives, basically the initiatives and incentives we can call it as. We'll be discussing them, especially with a reference key. There is some development in each of them in last 1 or 2 years, maybe 2.5, 3 years. But they are very, very recent, that way they are relevant today. All MSMEs should know about it. So hence we'll be discussing them all. Friends, just to start with a pictorial presentation, maybe I would request Nilesh ji, because he's navigating it. So this is a typical MSME who has these questions in his mind, whether how to grow my business, or how can I fund my new orders, or how do I manage my credit period? Do I have any government incentive for me which is available for me? Where I am eligible. So these are the typical questions which an MSME has in its mind. And my bold answer to that is yes. This is whatever your questions, for that there is an affirmative answer. You have some thing available for you. There are a lot of incentives, initiatives of the government, and those initiatives, incentives are here in a just one picture. I have tried to cover it, sir. Nilesh ji, thoda sa. So for first question, second question, every question had some typical answer. For example, how do I increase my business? So point is, friends, this GEM, the government e-marketplace, is an initiative, and it is really picking up. So in fact, this for new chamber, which is just formed by Nilesh ji, creating awareness about these online things which are really going to make difference, which are really going to reduce the corruption, should be one agenda, wherein more the awareness, more is the benefit to the MSMEs. So GEM, I'll be definitely discussing. Then comes TRADES, that is Trade Receivable E-Discounting System, for getting your bills immediately paid as soon as you supply the goods, services. In 3 or 4th day, you should get your money also, maybe on a discounted price, but at a very, very competitive rate. So third comes is about the credit period, the Samadhan initiative of the government. On the incentive part, it really depends on which business you are, which area you are operating. There are a lot of things. One just example is a PSA, that is package scheme of incentive, which the MSMEs enjoy on a higher side. Just to go further, there is CGTMSE, there is a cluster concept, there is a CMEGP, there is CLCSS, and so on and so forth. This 59 minutes initiative of say RBI, then the startup initiative, we can go further. Then this subordinate debt, which has just come in as part of this COVID relief package. So friends, in one picture, I just wanted to highlight that being an MSME, we have a lot of problems which every businessman faces on day-to-day basis. But there are answers. Point is, we should have that awareness, minimum awareness, and definitely there are all many enabling provisions which this government we should credit it with. In last 3-4 years at least, they have focused on it. To add to this, the champion website, I'll come to that. So maybe we can go ahead. Any queries, any questions you have in your mind, you can please put it into the chat box, so that at the end, maybe after 30 minutes, I'll come to them and I'll try to address them. Anything left out, we can definitely again discuss it live also. Friends, just to cover again in one slide, what is the Mahima or the strength of this MSME? So around 6.5 crores, 5 crore units. Out of that, home, cottage, village, and tiny units also we should count. And they are almost 70% of the total 6.5 crore units. So let us not just think about those MIDC units as MSMEs. More of, because Gadkari ji is saying this very recently also, ki the rural MSME. He wants to concentrate on rural MSME, and this rural MSME is going to bring the employment. That is what he is trying to say. And there maybe the awareness and the reach is more required in a way. So 11 crore plus workforce, second biggest after agriculture. This is the Mahima of MSME. 6,000 plus products, around 8% of GDP is a total GDP, maybe manufacturing GDP is close to 30-40%, 45% of total manufacturing output, and 40% of the exports. This is what they contribute to the economy, and their growth rate year on year is around 13%. So this is what is their strength. Basically, friends, when I present this topic, I try to connect those dots, because any MSME, once you say the basic registration is of Udyam registration. We all know this now. Earlier it was called as Udyog Aadhar, and this registration is under this particular act, the MSMED Act, that is Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act. So this is the act which governs the registration and the compliance. We will be our base of discussion should be on this particular platform, that any MSME is governed by the MSMED Act, which is an enabling welfare legislation. I have specifically mentioned it in the slide again. Reason for that is any law that is made in the country, it has some particular purpose. For example, taxation law or say civil procedure code, and it has, for example, taxation is to collect the tax, to regulate the tax regime. Like that, MSMED Act is a welfare legislation which is enacted to facilitate few things, to advantage the MSMEs. So let us have good awareness about the provisions of MSMED Act itself. I lot of times say this. The act itself is an initiative of the government which came in 2006 way back. And yes, now there are changes in that. So we'll be discussing that also. Just to create that platform, MSMED Act, the Udyam registration are the basis for our entire discussion, the MSME per se. Yes, we can go ahead, sir. So as was said in the beginning itself, so I'll be discussing 10 new things or 10 important things maybe for the day, which have some or the other developments in last 1 or 2 years, or the initiative itself is say around 2.5 years old. To start with, there are finance related initiatives and there are non-finance related initiatives also. I'll start with non-finance first and then I'll come to the finance related initiatives. In non-finance, I'm covering around 5, and in finance, I'm covering, which are more of bank related, I'm covering 5. So we can start with the first one, the non-finance related Udyam registration. Friends, as I said, till date, we had this Udyog Aadhar. It was there since September 2015. And during COVID, when Madam amended the act, all the plant and machinery related machinery limits were revised. In fact, this revision was first expected in 2015. Then it again came in 2018. 2 attempts were made to revise the limits of the plant and machinery, but they were not successful in amending the act at that time for some reason. Ultimately, in May 2020, during COVID, Madam finally announced the revision in limits, and the final notification came in June somewhere. So as I'm presenting here, earlier we had this Udyog Aadhar. Now it is Udyam registration, and again the government website, only one website. On this website only we should go and register ourselves. There are a lot of fake websites also, because there are people who have this business only. They immediately start creating few website, but the government in many places it is saying to be aware of these fake website, because they are charging fee unnecessarily and you may not get the registration also. This is a totally free of cost registration, only one website and on self-declaration basis. So we can go ahead. This is the website, udyamregistration.gov.in, and we should tell this to people. This is the only website where we should go and register ourselves. Yes, sir. Again, friends, the main part. What was the change? Kya hua? On I think 13th May, Madam announced this. We are revising the limits now. And say, as I said, 2006 was the act. 2006 se 2020, any 14 long years, because earlier limits were maybe relevant at that time. But even if we consider the inflation effect of it, So this revision was awaited and it was rightly done. So just to take you through one particular bucket and discuss about it, the micro enterprise. Earlier, manufacturing entity, service entity, there were two different classifications, there are two different limits. Now, one important change what has happened is this differentiation between service and manufacturing has gone. If you see earlier for manufacturing, the limit was say 25 lakhs. Now it has become 1 crore. Additionally, one more criteria has been enacted, that is turnover. Somewhere earlier, this turnover limit was not there. Even if you are say well within a particular category of machinery investment, your turnover may be any amount. But now, in a way to restrict the benefits and in a way to include lot many other entities also, with dual purpose, this turnover limit is also in a way welcomed. That is an enactment of additional criteria, I would say. So as far as the limit is concerned, earlier it was say 25 lakhs and 10 lakhs for service entity. Now it has become 10 times. You can see this. For service entities, it was say 10 lakhs earlier. So now it is 1 crore, because between manufacturing and service, there is no differentiation or distinction now. Take small category. Earlier for manufacturing, it was 5 and service, it is 2. Now it is 10 crores of investment. And more benefits as such, if we discuss, micro and small are at par for all benefits are concerned. Once you move out of small, you move on to medium, lot of government initial incentives especially are lost, because medium enterprise doesn't get many of the incentives which are otherwise reserved for micro and small only. So once, as per new definition, once you cross this investment limit of say 10 crores or the turnover limit of 50 crores, you move into medium enterprise. And then after 50 crores of investment or say turnover crossing 250 crores, you will be classified as a large entity. So this is a crisp definition of it. As per government data itself, government now is saying because of this new definition, 99% of the manufacturing and service entities that are present in India will either be MSME, either of the three. So majority of them will now come into medium enterprise. Medium enterprises still have a lot of benefits like bank related, funding related, and few incentive related benefits. But more benefits are to the, again, the deprived class. I would say the micro and small entities have comparatively better incentives compared to medium. Once you move out of any of these three, you move out of MSME, lot of MSME related benefits are lost. Anyways, because only 1% of the entities are now remaining out of MSME. So fine, they are the large entities. They have anyways, they are well say capitalized and say are well organized. So still it's a welcome move. The new definition is welcomed by the entire industry. But my observation here is the entities which were earlier getting classified as say small entities only because of investment related criteria of say 5 crores. Take for example the manufacturing entity, which had an investment in plant and machinery of around say 4 or say 4.5 crores. As there was no turnover limit as such, they were still getting classified as small and were getting the benefits. Now, because of this added criteria of turnover, there are entities which are machinery less than 5 crore, but turnover is more than 50 crores. They will now be classified as medium, and they might lose few of the benefits which they otherwise were enjoying because of being classified as small entity. So on one hand, 99% of the entities are getting covered under either of the MSME. On the other hand, because of turnover criteria, many of the units are losing the status of small entity and they are moving to medium entity. So this one practical thing with proper intention, I would say, has happened. And we should understand that, and accordingly we should strategize our say entire organization level policy. So friends, on this, any query you have, you can definitely give it in chat box. We'll definitely discuss it. So I am just going ahead. Next slide, please. Friends, so what is the change that has happened because of this entire Udyog Aadhar, say Udyam, then this revision in plant and machinery? So these are the highlighted change that has happened. Definition limit changed after 14 long years. We all know now. Old definition came into existence with the introduction of MSME Act in 2006. Earlier amendments of 2015 and 2018 could not be notified. That is the history. Increased limit of investment in plant and machinery. The limits have gone up. In few cases, it has gone up by 4 times. In few cases, 10 times of the earlier limit. Added criteria of turnover is introduced. Because of that, few of the entities might lose the status of being small and may move to medium. At the same time, 99% of the entities are now covered under MSME. No distinction between manufacturer and service provider. This was one welcome move again, I would say. So friends, with this, I'm coming to my the list of it in non-finance related few provisions that I'll be discussing. The first provision which I'm discussing with you is GEM. Now, as a practicing chartered accountant, any and every client who is coming to me, I'm telling him, I'm asking him one particular question. Are you registered on GEM? So in 70, 80, 90% of the cases, the answer is no. I request him and he understands the gravity and tries to register. I help him in registering on GEM. Going forward, friends, the government related procurement, this is all about government procurement from the market, and 25% of the procurement has to be from MSMEs. This is the mandate by government resolution. So who is already registered on this electronic platform, he definitely get the business. The one question which the MSME had in mind, where do I search for my new business? So if you are there on the platform, you will get the business. If you are still not there on the platform, you don't have any chance to get that business. So better to go and register on this. I'll try to give you the importance of this, that the statistics of this platform, the importance of this platform. Our public procurement policy, as you all know, has many logjams. I already mentioned it. To overcome those logjams, this online platform is created, that too in a record time of 5 months. This was created by this government in 2016. It's an online end-to-end marketplace reform that provides an open, efficient, transparent solution. The platform is managed by a SPV. We all know this. This is about this platform. Yes, again, next slide, please. All central government, state government departments, PSCs procure goods and services from this. It is a mandate, including railways has started procurement from this platform, with some starting trouble here and there. The railway procurement, which I've heard very recently in last 1 or 2 months, they have also shifted for their all procurements on GEM platform only. No charges or no fee for registration, special provisions for startup, MSMEs, fully online, paperless, contactless platform, easy access to participate in bids, reverse auctions, mandatory purchase of 25% for MSMEs, and out of that 4% of target for SC/ST entrepreneurs. This is the highlight of this particular platform. We can go ahead. Friends, this is the statistics till date. Only one change I'll definitely highlight in the end. Total buyer organizations, please note this, 45,000 buyer organizations are registered on this. So each government, semi-government, departments, maybe PSUs, Navaratna, Maharatna, Mini Ratna, all those departments all put together, pan-India, 45,000 buyer organizations are registered on this, and they are all government, some semi-government and all of the kind. How many number of sellers registered as on date? 4,12,000 sellers and service providers. Number of products, 6,994. This is little bit of old data, maybe 3-4 months back. Only one change which I have noticed today, I'll just highlight that. Service category is 130. Around products, close to 20 lakh products. Service offerings are 32,000. Orders till date 42 lakh orders. And this transaction value, please note this. Platform was created in 2016. You take 4 complete years. 56,000 is the figure. Today's figure is close to 1 lakh crore, 95,000 odd. So I take it as 1 lakh crore is the total value on GEM till date in cumulative 4 years. Now, this is where the opportunity lies. I am coming to that, which is government statement itself. And out of whatever 4,12,000 service providers, 1,09,000 are MSME sellers and service providers. Total value proposition of the total say procurement till date, 57% is from MSEs. So minimum procurement is 25%. Till date, the procurement is on a higher side. That's what the statistics say. Now the opportunity part of it, sir, we can go ahead. Friends, opportunities, please note this, very important for us. If we say concentrate on this, if we strategize on this, we definitely have some business from GEM which is coming our way. 34 lakh crore India's annual procurement, and how much is the cumulative? 1 lakh crore. This is a public data, you can maybe Google it. 34 lakh crore India's annual public procurement, and out of this 25%, as I already mentioned, is MSME. 57,000 crore, or you take this as 1 lakh crore as on date cumulative since 2016. Government says we want to make it 5 lakh 70, more than 5 lakh crore. That is a growth of 10x or say you 5x in next 2 years. So you just try to visualize the opportunity which is lying in this particular registration and the awareness. So 18,000 crore, 18 lakh crore, that is again 4 times of 2 years procurement budget. So in next 5 years, so they want to take it to 18 lakh crore. In a way, 50% of whatever is procured now is targeted to be from GEM portal in staged manner, step-by-step manner in next 5 years. So MSME share shall be 50% of entire procurement, because they are large in numbers, and as I said, 99% of the entities as they are getting covered. So despite mandatory procurement, more procurement has to be from the MSMEs only. So this is one great opportunity that I would suggest all we should be aware of. We can go ahead, sir. The third, first was our the Udyam registration itself. Second was the GEM portal. Third is the cluster concept. Wherever we are MSMEs, we are working, and this one concept which is getting popularity nowadays. Again, going by the minister's statement, he says registering around 300, 400 clusters is of no use for me. I want 3,000 clusters. Friends, this cluster is a very simple concept, a sponsorship program from central government. State government is also participating in it. Useful to whom? Useful basically to the micro and small entities only. How? We'll just come to that in the next slides. What is a cluster? Concentration of enterprises producing same or similar products or strategic services and situated within an adjacent geographical area. Main objective of cluster development program: to enhance the productivity, to facilitate economies of scale, to build capacity of MSMEs through formation of self-help group and cooperation. Form a group. You have defined your needs, you have identified the requirements of a particular geographical location. If government is funding you strategic infrastructure, a few common facilities, you can double your investment, you can double your income, you can double the employment. Government is here to invest. So cluster is simple government investment in common facility centers and key infrastructure, so as to grow, so as to increase the productivity, employment, income of the MSMEs. We can just move to the next slide. This is in short the cluster development program of Government of India. How much funding does the government has or has allocated? How much percentage government is funding? Who is the stakeholder? Who is the funding agency? So basically, if you go through this MSC, that is micro and small entrepreneurs, minimum 40 is the MSME, the first initiative where 70% to 90% of the common facility which is identified is funded by the central government. I can give you a lot of examples. In fact, Nilesh ji has seen a lot of clusters. I'm sure about it. You all are must be knowing few clusters. Why not for ourselves also as MSMEs? That is what has to be thought of. Here, micro and small entities. Second, again, MSCDP, the micro and small entities, minimum 10 members, 75% is the funding. The Spurti, this is a new initiative again, the micro and artisans. And then fourth, the Kisan Sampada is micro for agro-driven industry. Minimum numbers, government subsidy, then cost in lakhs, that is the allocation. This is what is the features of this initial incentive. We have to think of where do I need my infrastructure? Can I come together? Can I form a group and can I go and demand for a cluster for me wherein I can increase my income? Presently, there are 388 SME clusters funded by central government, and government wants to make them 10x. That is what is the minister's statement. So let us focus on this also. With this, one small thing, again, cluster related, in the next slide I'll be explaining, is about the lean manufacturing cluster. Now, one is a cluster which is formed to create a common facility center to create an infrastructure nearby me. This is a second type of cluster which will help you. MSMEs will be assisted in reducing manufacturing cost through proper personnel management, better space utilization, scientific inventory management, improved process flow, reduced engineering time, and so on. Financial assistance is provided for implementation of lean manufacturing techniques. 80% by Government of India, 20% has to be anyways contributed by us. This is within your factory. The difference, earlier it was a common facility, now it's a cluster which is formed by you, of your friends, and where government funds you 80% of whatever cost you incur to create a lean manufacturing structure. The scheme is for all MSMEs. The units are required to form a mini cluster of 10 or so units by signing amongst themselves MOU to participate in the scheme. Friends, all the policy guidelines are anyways are available, how to go for it, what is the procedure, kisko milna hai, kya karna hai. Those things are definitely are there. We can go into details of it later maybe. But one more very welcome initiative, and in fact, I was just discussing with one senior government officer of central government MSME. He said from December the government is taking this more aggressively. There are few policy changes from this December, and maybe in coming days they want to create lot many, some in thousands such clusters, because this is a cluster which is a virtual cluster wherein the ZDE program, that is zero defect zero effect program, can be very well can be taken up through this particular initiative, because we should have very good quality products. This is the bottom line of the main purpose of lean manufacturing. We all know, you are all in fact are the entrepreneurs, you know it better than me. So this is one more welcome thing which we should take advantage of. We can go ahead and with the next initiative. Next slide. Yeah, MSME Samadhan. Again, a fourth non-finance related initiative, friends. Again, as a practicing professional in last 1 or 2 years, the vibrant use of this particular platform I am able to see till date. To be particular, in 2017, this Samadhan website was launched. This is nothing but a website to resolve your dispute regarding receivables from your customer. You all must be knowing about it, but I just want to share with you few practical experiences. Till date, you used to write to the customer. The customer, sometimes he replies, sometimes he doesn't reply. Now you have this platform, which is an online platform. You have to go to this platform, file your POs, file your invoices, and inform what dispute you have. And you need not go to any civil court. You need not go to the forum also physically. As soon as you file your dispute on this platform, auto-generated mail goes to your customer. The wording of that notice, it is a notice. The wording of the notice is also beautiful. It says, we have received a claim against you of so and so rupees from this party. You are requested to pay the dues within 15 days and produce us the receipt. Or if you don't agree with the claim, then you have to get back to us. So friends, just try to understand. We can go to the next slide, maybe just to explain in a better way. What is the process? क्या मुझे करना चाहिए to resolve the disputes? We can go step by step. So if there is a dispute, let us first identify whether there is a dispute or not. So suppose you have a very valued customer and you don't want to lose that customer, but the say agreed credit period was 30 days. Now it is more than 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. Now your customer has stopped replying to your mails, replying to your request of payment. What will you do? So you have to first conclude whether there is a dispute or not. Maybe your customer has told you, okay, I am not paying you because of one XYZ reasons. First, conclude whether there is a dispute or not. If there is no dispute, you are still enjoying that credit period, you please continue. 120 days, 150 days, 200 days. But one thing we should remember, after completion of 3 years, there is one law in India which is called as Limitations Act. After 3 years of last invoice, you cannot officially call for your dues. Your claim is lost. So please enjoy it up to 2 years and 11 months, not beyond that. So in the 3rd year, last month at least, you have to go and approach the buyer. You tell him, sir, I am MSME registered. If you are not paying me, I have to go to some legal forum. And what is the process? Suppose based on that mail, he pays, great. The end, that is the end of the dispute. If he is not paying, you have to go to MSME Samadhan, which I have just mentioned, the website. The website shoots the mail on the same day. Based on the mail, my personal experience is around 30, 40, 50% of the cases get some or the other response. The ball starts rolling. You get some payment from your customer. He assures you of paying something later, and somehow you get your payment, and maybe there the dispute might end. If not, then we have to go to the council. The council calls for the hearing. It first tries to conciliate the matter. If not conciled, then arbitration orders are passed. And based on the arbitration order, if you get the payment, great. If not, we have to go to the civil court for execution petition. Maybe within 6 months or a year's time, you get your decree also and you get your payment also. So this is one initiative which we should use, yes, but with all this discretion, that when I should really file this online, because we should not unnecessarily lose our customer also. So one great thing which has happened is the platform has become very, very vibrant. It is giving good results. So one good initiative. We can go ahead, sir. Anyways, this is the website again. We should go to this. The step-by-step approach is given here. We can just skip it and go to the next initiative, the non-finance initiatives which we are discussing. Now, this particular 5th thing is an incentive policy, and which is announced in June 2020. So I have covered it here. This is for those who are into electronics component manufacturing. So we can remember this. This scheme is for electronic component manufacturing with some threshold investment limits.
Go ahead. I'm muted. Yeah.
Yeah. Friends, you should be knowing this. In 2018, for the first time, the total electronics import of India was lower than the domestic production. So this scheme was there earlier, was called as MSIPS. In 2019, this came, 2018 December to be specific, that particular scheme came to an end. 2019 up to say June 2020 was a period where there was no incentive policy which was declared. But thankfully in June again, same policy with different name has come in. Very good policy. We can call it as a financial initiative also if you want. the incentive is very clear. The minimum threshold investment in electronics component manufacturing is 5 crores. If you are investing 5 crores, then central government will give you 25% upfront subsidy. As soon as you start the commercial production, whatever is your investment of 5 crores plus, 25% is given back to you. This is one. Secondly, the state government has a beautiful policy again supporting the electronics manufacturing, which gives 100% subsidy. So total incentive for electronics manufacturing in India, in Maharashtra, is 125%. So 25% upfront, and for the state government is year on year 1/10 of the total investment is given back to you. So it's a great policy. We should take advantage of it. Wherever you have that option to say collaborate with any of the electronics manufacturer, he has some say expansion plans, you can explore the opportunities, and lot of things are happening under this. We can just move on. So now I am coming to the finance related, particularly the finance related initiatives, I would say. Friends, a lot of bank related initiatives we have seen. Normally the central government tries to pass on the benefits through bank, because definitely the total liquidity and the regulated sector, well regulated sector is a banking sector. So a lot of things are passed on through the banks. Even if we see this 3 lakh crore ka package, or say 20 lakh crore package, which was declared by the government during pandemic, majority of it was through the banks. So let us come to specific out of it. Loan restructure. Friends, January 2019 is the date when this loan restructure for MSMEs was declared. And again, it was renewed. The date was extended in February 2020 when Madam announced the budget. Then the date was extended till the 31st December. And again in August 2020, they extended it further. And now ultimately March 31st, 2021, this particular loan restructure is coming to an end, but we have these 25-30 crucial days. There is possibility that this may further get extended. I don't know, but we can expect that. But wherever required, wherever there is a stress in the cash flow, even now, you have a very good account with any of the banks, maybe nationalized bank or other than cooperative banks, I would say. You have every right to go and ask for some restructure. What is restructure? Though you can ask for some repayment holiday, you can ask for say extension of the repayment period, you can ask for some say interest capitalization of it. You need not pay the interest, you just even neither the EMI nor even the interest, you can capitalize that interest into one more loan if required, or you can ask for a short-term funds additionally. So this is all called as restructuring. Normally on restructure, RBI policy says that the account has to be classified as NPA. But in this particular case, the RBI has given one-time exemption for those MSMEs whose aggregate exposure is less than 25 crores. They can go and ask for a one-time restructuring without classifying the asset as NPA. So government is targeting around 12 lakh MSMEs to get benefit out of it, and around more than 1 lakh crores of debt is expected to be restructured. The scheme was basically extended beyond its first deadline or second deadline, basically because government sees some stress. The number of entities which have come in and have got their accounts restructured is not up to the mark. Say as on date, around 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs plus entities have restructured themselves. This particular restructure is useful where you really have stress. It is nothing about feeling bad for going for a restructure. It is your business, you know it well. If you have problems, it is your right, you have to go to the bank, or please inform your friends or whoever who is into kind of trouble, and go for it, get the advantage of it. Last date is say 31st March. We can go ahead. Next initiative. A lot of times we hear about it ki in this country, in that country, the loan gets sanctioned in 1 minute, 2 minutes, say 10 minutes. So friends, taking cue from it, I would say in 3-4 years back, 2 years, 3 years back, this particular website is launched by the central government. that is PSB loans in 59minutes.com. As a practical experience, I am applying for loans through this portal. It's a very effective portal. A lot of criticism as usual was done about this, but now the government is all the PSU banks are processing all their loans through this portal only for loans up to 5 crores. So why to go to bank with the file? Just to reduce that time lost in the initial discussions, processing and all, this initiative was taken. For all your term loan and CC related requirements, go and use this platform. You get your sanction letter literally in the next minute. However, you have to file few data like your PAN number, the TAN number, the GST number, your logins, all those things have to be given. We anyways give it to our banker, so there is no problem in giving that. There is no data theft, data loss or any kind of risk in that, because anyways this is shared with the bankers and all. So we can be confidently doing this. Mudra loan from INR 10 lakh to say PL up to 20 lakhs, home loan up to 10 crores, auto loan up to 1 crore. This all is getting processed out of PSB loan 59 minutes. Yes, but this is applicable only to the nationalized banks. The private banks have their own platform. You can go and use that. But this is one thing where the awareness has to be spread. In principle sanction, we get around 10-15 days of time. We definitely save on this. Around 50% of the appraisal part of a loan sanction process is concluded at this stage only. Based on this, whatever sanction letter you get and your file, you have to go to the bank. It is expected that within 7-10 days, they will be disbursing the loan to you. This is what is the intention of the platform. The platform is currently being used by all PSBs and leading private sector banks and NBFCs also. So not just the PSB part of it, all the private sector banks are also using this platform. So one more initiative which we should make use of. We can go to the next one, very important and more relevant today, and which has come into this pandemic as part of pandemic announcements, which is subordinate debt. This is particularly for those MSMEs who are stressed, who are not NPA, but who are stressed, or who are NPA also. So this is the first of its kind which I am seeing in my career, wherein the leeway, a breather is given to even a MSME unit also. So wherein a stressed unit or a NPA is given some incentive, some funding, and that too with a 7 years of moratorium. Hence it is called as subordinate debt, that is quasi equity. Functioning MSMEs which are NPA or overdue. Collateral free quasi equity, there is no collateral coverage in this, because this is 90% under CGT MSE, that is 90% of this funding is guaranteed by the central government. 15% of promoter contribution or maximum 75 lakhs. So if your contribution in the business is 5 crores or more, then you will get 75 lakhs as a collateral free CGT MSE backed loan, wherein there is a 7 years of moratorium and only last 3 years of repayment, equal installment repayment. Promoter will get debt. Now the structure is also very beautiful. The promoter, he will get these funds as a loan in his hands, and he has to deposit, he has to give this amount to the private limited or the partnership, and that will be infused as his capital. So your ratios are bound to go up. Your ratios are getting better because of this infusion at this crucial point in time. Units which are running and which are viable will be considered. Genuine businesses will get funding and help them come out of the default. So I have practically worked on all these proposals also. Why I'm telling you is this is really working. Bankers themselves are finding the eligible customers to whom this fund can be given, and it is really helping those who are in need. Only one thing has to be noted: units which are running and viable, they will be getting this benefit, even though they might be NPA. So one welcome thing which we should look into. We can go to the next slide. Point number 9, equity infusion. This is again reiterated again in this budget also, but unfortunately, the scheme document has not yet come. I should check, say within last 10-15 days. I have not definitely checked, but this is one more very welcome step which the government is going to go take. Like subordinate debt, equity infusion is planned into MSMEs, which are growth oriented MSMEs. Equity funding to MSMEs with growth potential and viability. For MSMEs willing to expand in size and capacity, encourage MSME to get listed on main board of stock exchange. Promoters willing to dilute stake and willing to go public shall be eligible and recommended. In short, government is going to invest in potential MSMEs, help them grow. When the valuation is good, they want to exit with good profits, definitely. And whatever is the cash flow that is generated out of this sale, they are not going to take it back to the treasury. They will be investing it in some other MSME. That is what the minister is also saying कि मैं चालू 10,000 करोड़ से 50,000 करोड़ अराउंड 10,000 करोड़ से करूंगा और मैं उसको 1,00,000 करोड़ बनाऊंगा. So anyways, those might be the initial confidence statements, but this is one more thing we should look for, and this will definitely, again, a new initiative, first time initiative. This is going to help us. We should prepare our entity for such new things, because definitely when the government is going to come and invest, they will definitely see into few of the parameters, the financial discipline of it and all those things. But definitely, yes, this is going to make some difference. We'll come to the last and very interesting initiative that is called as TREADS. This is again getting a lot of buzz nowadays. It is getting popular. Again, a new innovative thinking, maybe again driven from some imported concept only, but a welcome initiative wherein the first thing which we discussed, the second thing which we discussed, maybe the Samadhan, where if you are not getting the payment, if there is a dispute, so what should I do? So you should go to the forum, you should demand the interest. So if not, then there are penal provisions of it. But on the other hand, the government tried and thought of enabling quick realization through some mechanism. So this mechanism of realizing the dues within 3-4 days or a week's time is nothing but trade receivable e-discounting system. So we can go into details of this. The next slide. This is nothing but this is an exchange where there are 3 parties. One is the corporate buyer, second is the MSME, and third the banks, factoring companies, the NBFCs, all financial institutions. TREADS is an electronic platform facilitating the financing of trade receivables of MSMEs through multiple financial institutions. These receivables can be due from corporates and other buyers, including government departments and PSUs. The idea is simple. You supply, if you are MSME, your bill will be discounted and paid on the 4th day. And who is paying them? The banks and financial institutions. They are there on these platforms. They are looking for the bills which are getting lodged against these big corporate buyers. And as soon as a bill is lodged, they want to compete and discount that bill. Someone was telling me today, even a 4% rate is given in this discounting for some Tata related supplier, Tata Motors related suppliers. This is possible because this is a very, very open and bidding based program, the platform. So this rate is possible. Ultimately, the MSME is going to get benefited out of it. We can just go to the next slide and go through a few FAQs, how it works, creation of an invoice. The simple procedure as good as discounting my bills. I supply my goods today, my customer accepts the bill, and then I go to the bank and produce those bills, and bank gives me the money immediately by discounting it, say maybe at 9%, 9.5%. Here the basic difference is you will get the best rate which the corporate will otherwise get, because these financial institutions are taking this exposure on the corporate, not on you, not on your credentials. They are taking this exposure on the credentials of the buyer, who is really a big buyer. Because now from last September, October, any company which has a turnover of more than 500 crores For them, registering on TREDS is compulsory for all the buyers whose turnover is more than 500 crores. Registering is compulsory, and registering and discounting the bills through TREDS is also compulsory. Provisions are made, the follow-up, the penal actions, the operational factors, they are following. ROC has started sending few notices to these select 2000 companies, inquiring whether they have started paying through TREDS or not. This is very recent. In last 1 or 2 months, we have started getting these notices. We'll just go through how it works. Creation of invoice on TREDS platform by MSMEs, acceptance of invoice by the counterparty naturally, bidding by financiers, banks and by NBFCs, selection of best bid by the seller or the buyer, payment made by financial institution to MSME seller at an agreed rate of financing and discounting, payment by buyer to the financer. Your buyer, your customer will be paying the dues directly to the financing agency, that is the banks. So there is no recourse. I have just tried to bring out few FAQs in the next slide. What are the typical questions here? Whether the MSME seller would have to pay to the financer in case buyer defaults in payment. The answer is big no. There is no recourse to the MSME. The transaction process under TREDS are without recourse to the MSME. The recourse is to the your customer, that is the buyer. If he defaults, then the banks will proceed against him. Are there any charges for registration? Thankfully, since last 3-4 months, there are 3 platforms. In the last slide I've covered. All 3 platforms, the registration is free of cost. We can register on any platform wherever our customer is registered. So is it compulsory for all buyers? It's compulsory for all PSUs and corporates with turnover more than 500 crores. We just discussed that. So all PSUs, by compulsion, they are already there on this platform. All companies, corporate buyers whose gross turnover, whose turnover for last year is more than 500 crores, for them also this is compulsory. So which are those 3 platforms? In the next slide, these are the InvoiceSmart, M1 Exchange and RXIL. For your information, wherever you are, suppose you are a member of any chamber or any SME organizations, lot of awareness about these exchanges is now taking place. In fact, RXIL, M1 Exchange, they are participating in lot of seminars, awareness programs, and they are requesting all MSMEs to register on their platforms, because as I said, all these 1% companies who are big, that is 500 crore plus turnover, as I said in the beginning itself, 99% are MSMEs. This 1% have to be there on this platform. So these 1% will have to be on this platform. They have to be well regulated. 500 crores of turnover is a very serious business. They cannot be just avoiding this. They cannot give any reasons and avoid this. They have to be well prepared, well organized. So all these companies will be made compulsory. Now that penal actions have started, we should be first prepared and let us register on wherever possible. We should register on these platforms. Wherever our customer is registered, we should track them and go and register. Unless he is registered, you may not be able to go and register. So that is one lacuna. But on the other side, the government is behind these 500 crore plus companies. So today or tomorrow, they have to come on this platform and you will be registered on the platform. So I think this is end of it. The next one. Friends, my only the message which I try to give is, let us spread the awareness. The lot of government initiatives, yes, teething problems might be there, but let us not miss our bus. Let us not miss any opportunity of registering, making our presence felt. Nowhere we can be casual about this. We have to keep our eyes open, register wherever required, and spread this awareness to others. This is my message. So thank you very much. And I think we can end the presentation and I'll go to the chat box now.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, no issue, but I can first, I think I should take these chats and then I'll come to you. Is that fine?
I'm fine, sir.
Okay, please announce, sir. I believe turnover for medium is 500 crore. If I am not, no, it is 250 crores. 50, 50, and yes, medium it is 500 crores. You are right. So 50 crores plus, and yes, 500 crores. You are right. So I think the slide was something else. 250 crores. Just let me
Yes, it
recheck.
was 250 crores, sir. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. So it is 500 crores definitely. But let me check it once again. MSME. Okay, it is 500 crores. You are right. Somehow maybe I missed that. Okay, so it is 500 crores, but I am still rechecking. Let me go through that. 250 and 500. Let me just. I'll come back to you. Give me a minute. Can we register on GEM in any month or only in April? No, not necessary. Anytime you can register. It's an open forum. We can register at any time. Can we register on GEM in any month? Yes. Sir, we are registered on GEM. However, beverage category is somehow not being shown. Okay. I would suggest you to take this platform of champions. So there you get one email ID. I can share it with you right now. You go and give post any of your grievance with whatever documentary evidence you can give. I have my personal experience. As soon as you shoot this mail to champions, they directly send it to the concerned secretary and ask them to reply immediately, and you get a reasonable reply within 3-4 days maximum. So champions.gov.in is one very good initiative. The government is claiming that we want to keep this as a single window for grievance redressal. So yes, let us use it, and this might be one observation out of it. The beverage category, yes, so details we need to definitely see into this. Please talk about collateral free loans. That is the best issue for actual disbursement. Sanction is received but disbursement without collateral. It depends, really it depends. This 2 crore, up to 2 crores of collateral free funding is just not a concept. People are getting the funding. Yes, but banker will definitely have his say. He should get in the comfort in his in the proposal. He should get assurance about the repayment. He should be assured about the viability, the repayment capacity. Then he will definitely fund you. There are a lot of cases that are happening, but case to case basis, the call has to be taken. If you want to escalate the matter, I would again suggest go and use this platform. Go to the topmost authority of the bank particular. If this bank is not giving, you can go to some other bank, but this should not be an hindrance. They just cannot ask for collateral. Yes, they should get the comfort because that is their discretion. It is not a compulsory some tool that we can exercise. We have to convince them. PPT I'll definitely share. Then can MSME register on all three? Yes, you can register on all three platforms, but one or the other customer should be there present on the platform. Then only you can register. As I said, all your customers with 500 crore plus turnover, he should be there in either of the platform. If not today, tomorrow he has to be there. So you can definitely be assured that you will get that chance to register. If all your customers are on one platform, good for you. You can register only on one platform. Please share the PPT. Yes, we'll share. As you talked about support for electronic component manufacturing, does it have any minimum turnover clause or any other clause which might restrict startup 3-year-old MSME company? No, there is no restrictive clause as such. Only challenge or only thing which is required is your proposed investment in the new machinery should be more than 5 crores. And now in that new machinery, there is a leeway again. 20% of it can be second hand also. 20% can be in the tools, components, utilities. So that leeway is also given. There is no turnover related criteria. Only thing is your financial tie-up, that if your total project is say of 7 crores, so you should have a financial tie-up for 7 crores. Only then you get the recognition. Then the process follows. But you should have that financial closure, meaning you should have your own 7 crores, or you should have a sanction letter from a bank in your hands. So that is the requirement. Otherwise, there is no turnover criteria as such. We have tried to get registered trades, but somehow the buyer is not ready. So what to do? We have many corporate clients, but they are not ready to onboard us. Please suggest. Then the point is there is no option for them to onboard you or not. This is again about exercising your right. If your buyer is there on a platform, he cannot stop you from registering. You can register. You can definitely register. Whether to pay you or not, it's still his discretion. But till the time the government really goes behind him, more of this platform is about convincing your customer. To start with, at least we should exercise this option. You convince him, you tell him the importance of you getting the payment within 3-4 days, 5 days. Or then the second option is, then you can go a little bit strategically against him, or say to convince him. So that is what can be done. So Nilesh ji has given a champions.holding. Okay, so the link is already given by Nilesh ji. How to raise funds for new food trading company. Okay. So friends, unfortunately, the trading activity is not classified as MSME. So that is one hurdle for every trading activity. But yes, again, funds can definitely be raised for any business, be it trading or say non-trading also. Point is about your relations with the bank, the comfort that bank gets. But as you can still try for it, a small funding of Mudra to up to 2 crores of unsecured loans, you can definitely try for it. Are these applicable to institutions who are our customers? Which one are these applicable? Sunil ji is saying,
It is me. Can I answer that, sir? Can I question that properly?
uh,
Okay, what I mean is some of the customers who are running an institute have to owe money to us since they took the service. So can we send an MSME notice or whatever saying that, please pay?
Sir, the buyer can be anyone. It is very clear, except your export business. Say export, once you export your goods, the buyer is sitting outside India. So on him, this MSMED Act is not applicable. Otherwise, he can be a government, institution, private, cooperative, himself an MSME. Yes, no problem. Got it, sir? Yeah. So turnover limit is 250 only, sir. I got confused. 500 crore ka nahi hai. The turnover limit is
even I think it's 250.
Yeah, it is 250.
I checked it. They changed it in between.
The first limit was 10 and 100 crore. Then they revised it to 50 and 250. Okay, anyway, so any other query in this? Recently, I have a meeting with PS from Madhya Pradesh MSME department. Banks can give CGTMS loan to wholesale traders up to. Yes, this is even trading they are considering, and they have their internal policy of funding the trader also up to 1 crore or even up to 2 crores maybe now. But otherwise, by definition, it is available for micro and small entities. So anyways, so up to traders, yes, they can get this funding. They are getting this funding. Recently, I have a meeting with PS from Madhya Pradesh MSME department and informed by him that Mudra loan is not active after COVID-19. Can you clarify? I don't think so. There is no official announcement about this. There are, maybe it is about fund allocation, but no official announcement, at least as far as I know. Is this applicable across India, wherever whatever you shared? Yes, across India, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir nowadays. So across India, it is definitely applicable. All schemes, I suppose you are talking about all schemes, I suppose. So yes, it is applicable, Sunilji. Another point is if the bank is not agreeing to fully unsecured loans, they can apply for hybrid. Yes. Kedar Bhatt is right. Partially now, this is a very recent change. In fact, I had included it first, then I removed it. Earlier, it was about only funding up to 2 crores. Now, you want a funding, say 5 crores, and you have a security of 3 crores, then they can give you a hybrid funding. Only hurdle in that is whenever you go for hybrid kind of funding with CGTMSE, the balance part has to be 1:1 secure. That is what they want to say. Suppose your requirement is of 5, 2 crore is covered in CGTMSE, 3 crore, they want 3 crore security. That is what maybe the again internal policy of a bank. It may differ bank to bank, but hybrid is now possible. Yes. Can Bajaj Finance, which is charging high interest, can help us rework on ROI? It is about you convincing them. Bajaj Finance, they normally charge high interest on unsecured funding. So you can maybe convince them case to case. So checking that Agri e-commerce output, trading and farm input startup will not be able to take up this. Agri e-commerce output, trading and farm inputs. The 45 days, the Samadhan definitely is not available for e-commerce, the trading part of it. I can tell you that. Any other query? Someone had some oral.
You answered it, sir. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yes, I put it on the message.
Great.
Maheshwarji, I have a query. Is MSME supposed to write their Udyam registration number on their invoice and purchase orders? Is it mandatory?
It is not mandatory, sir. It is discretionary. The government has issued a circular and tried to create the awareness around 5-6 years back only. They are suggesting ki like GST number you write your Udyam Udyogadhar also, so that the buyer comes to know that you are registered, you are micro, you are small, and he tries to prioritize your payment. So that is the compulsory तो नहीं है. Ultimately MSME को ही compulsory करके करेंगे क्या? वो question आता है. But one thing which I am, at least on the professional forum wherever I am speaking nowadays, I am telling them till date there is no search engine which can enable you to verify whether your suppliers are MSME registered or not. But there is all possibility that going forward on the udyamregistration.gov.in, this website, they will be enabling this search engine wherein you can put in the PAN number of your supplier and you will come to know whether he is registered under Udyam or not. If registered, whether he is micro or small, then you will not have that excuse of not classifying your supplier as non-MSME because he has not given me any declaration. मेरे supplier ने मुझे कोई declaration नहीं दिया, इसलिए मैंने उसको classify नहीं किया. This is the most excuse what we get today. तो इसीलिए तो ये बनता है ना कि आप अपने इनवॉइस पे लिखना चालू करो, अपना सर्टिफिकेट भेजना चालू करो. इसकी झंझट ही नहीं है, क्यों करना है? अपने सप्लायर का पैन नंबर तो आप मिनिमम लेते हो, लेना चाहिए, लेंगे तो पैन नंबर बेस्ड आपको सर्च भी करना पड़ेगा. इवन द ऑडिटर ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉर्पोरेट बायर, he will not have any excuse कि none of the supplier has given any of the declaration. He will be duty bound to go to Udyam registration, go to this search engine, सबका पैन नंबर डाल के पहले आप अपने ऑडिटी के सप्लायर्स का स्टेटस निकालो. उसमें से कोई भी आपको एमएसएमई मिला तो उसको 45 डेज में दिया है कि नहीं वो देखो. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी the future. This will come. I have given several representations. I would request this chamber also to give this representation to the ministry. He enable this search engine.
Sir, can I just
Sir, I have a question.
share my experience about
Let's say I raised an invoice this month. Now, should we have to submit such invoices to MSME in future if we have to claim anything if the if the client doesn't pay us money? Because when I approached sometime back, this is what they told me. by one of the MSME office. I don't know whether you was knowledgeable or I don't know. I may be wrong, but this is what they asked. Can that happen? You understood my question?
I could not get you, sir. The invoice you are talking about? Invoice anyways.
Yes, invoice. Invoice. Should you have to submit to MSME in advance so that in every month, something like that? No.
To whom?
To MSME and let the client know that we are
Which MSME?
The MSME body, whichever is nearest, where whenever we write, because you said whenever there is a grievance or when the client doesn't pay us, we approach
That's what I
MSME.
mentioned. That's what I mentioned. The Samadhan website, wherever you have a dispute.
Okay.
If there is a dispute, you go to Samadhan website, and not only the invoice, you have to upload the PO also, the delivery challan also, the invoices also, the ledgers also. So these 3-4 documents you have to upload. That means you are going to this forum for dispute resolution.
PO is a must, is it? Sometimes there is an agreement. If there's no PO, is that okay? Or
PO is an agreement. So if you have a specific agreement, great.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I would like to share something. If you quote the Udyog Aadhaar number, if you go to the Udyam website and click on verify and enter the Udyam number, if it is there on the invoice, you can see the detail of the classification with it, even with the verify. You do not require the PAN number.
No, my point is different. My point is different. See, anyways, Udyam number is given to you, you can definitely verify. Once the number is given, I am declaring that I am MSME. Where there is no specific declaration, you have the PAN number of every supplier.
Okay,
Today the excuse
got it.
is...
Yeah, I got it.
Got
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kedar Bhatt ji is writing, nowadays bank is not insisting, is also insisting for Udyog Udyam Aadhaar as it will give priority status to low and middle product category. Yes, okay. So anyways, giving this to bank is definitely profitable to us, is advantageous to us because MSME is priority sector. But one thing they have made it very clear that interest subvention related circular, they say ki Udyog Aadhaar is also not required. You can verify yourself and give them interest subvention. So again, a relaxation only, but registering under Udyog Udyam is in our interest, especially with the banks. We get the priority classification and we get interest benefit also. Praveen Naik, from where I get product list, demand and supply gap regarding GEM portal. There is lot of data analysis that is available on this website itself. Which are the products you can list, which are the products that are in demand. So based on some R&D you can do there, and based on that you can take a call. If you are already into some business, you have to look for that business. But if you are looking for some particular supply which is in demand, yes, some R&D, some other data is available. We have to go and search for it, and you will get some information out of it. I think, yes, Nilesh ji.
Maheshwarji, last question from my side. Earlier you said like there are incentives for the electronics and semiconductor manufacturers. So like that, are there any also some government incentives for particularly for the product which are cheaper to import from China as compared to manufacturing in India? Or maybe the product currently which is completely it is just imported, no one is manufacturing in India. In that case,
I got it. So very recently, production linked incentive is declared by the central government. 10 sectors are identified. Other than, in fact, electronics is again included in that. But other than electronics, there are 9 more sectors which are identified by the government, wherein they want to come and give you production linked incentive. But sector specific incentive policy is still awaited, I would say. But there are 9 more sectors, I can tell you, including and in addition to electronics manufacturing. Again, there comes the food processing, automobile is also included in that, but we can get into details of it. this is one about central government. If I tell you about state government policy, which I just mentioned, 100% for electronics. So that policy is anyways there, which is called as package scheme of incentive. And if you are coming with a new investment, new industry in the setup, whatever invested in land, building, plant and machinery, you get X percentage of it in the form of incentive over a period of 7 years. But for that, you need to be into more of rural areas. That is, other than these metros, Mumbai, Pune, यहाँ पे incentive अभी ज़्यादा बचा नहीं है. The PMRDA area, MMRDA area, there is no incentive in this. But if you go to, for example, say Satara, the Satara, you still have 60% incentive, the subsidy part, which you are eligible for. And for any kind of manufacturing, it is not sector specific, any kind of manufacturing.
Nilesh,
Yeah, we can close Prashant sir. And I think
yeah, because it's quite 7:35 now. We are stretched beyond limits. Anyway, it is thanks President for asking me to propose vote of thanks. I think we should rename vote of thanks as vote of gratitude, because we really had a very enlightening session from CA Maheshwar Marathe. And sir, I'm sure with the conviction and confidence with which you have delivered this, our SMEs will really benefit from it, and they will come forward and take more and more benefit out of this, and really contribute to the Indian economy, which is the purpose of our chamber. Also, thanks to all participants for your overwhelming response, because we started our session somewhere around 6:05, and it is right now 7:36, and we had really wonderful response from all the participants. So again, thanks to all the participants, speaker, our president, for such a nice concept which he has come up with. With this, I request, we are coming up with more and more sessions like this. Do keep tuned and take the benefit most. I declare session as closed. Thank you very much. Good night.
thank you. Thank you very much.